In the world of crime, some cases are so shocking that they change everything we thought we knew. These stories are filled with the darkest twists, where ordinary moments turn into unimaginable horrors. Today, we will explore one such tale, a tragedy that left a community devastated. It's a case that unfolded in the most unexpected way, leaving behind more questions than answers. Get ready to hear about a crime that still sends chills down the spine of anyone who remembers it. It was a quiet summer night in June 2021 in Hampton, Virginia, when 4-year-old Cody Bigsby vanished without a trace. His father, Cody Bigsby, reported him missing months later, setting off an investigation that would reveal dark secrets, a cover-up, and a tragic ending. Cody was born on January 12, 2018, to Dana Abdul Kareem and Cody Bigsby. He was a happy child with bright brown eyes, deep dimples, and a love for Spider-Man. His parents separated in 2019, and by 2020, Cody had taken full custody of their 4 children. Dina later claimed Cody was reluctant to take Cody, calling him a mama's boy. But in November 2020, she handed the kids over. Cody refused to give her his home address, cutting off her access to them. On January 31, 2022, Cody called the police, saying Cody was missing. He claimed he last saw his son sleeping at 2 a.m., but when he woke up, Cody was gone. Police arrived at Cody's apartment at Buckrow Point Townhomes, and a massive search began. The FBI, K-9 units, and volunteers combed through neighborhoods, waterways, and fields, but there was no trace of Cody. Officials noted inconsistencies in Cody's story, and because there was no evidence of an abduction, an Amber Alert was not issued. On February 3rd, Cody was arrested, not for Cody's disappearance, but for child neglect. Investigators found out he had repeatedly left his kids home alone. In one instance, he drove to Norfolk to buy a car, leaving them unattended. His lawyer argued these charges had nothing to do with Cody, but the police insisted Cody was the key to solving the case. Days later, volunteers continued searching, using drones and machetes to clear dense areas. A candlelight vigil was held, where people sang and prayed for Cody's safe return. Then, a child's blue jacket, similar to Cody's, was found in a field behind Cody's apartment. Hope sparked briefly, but no further clues emerged. Meanwhile, Cody's mother, Dina, thanked the public for their support, but said she was legally restricted from saying much. Months passed with no progress. In July 2022, Cody was hit with 30 child neglect charges. Although none were directly related to Cody's disappearance, they painted a grim picture of neglect. His family defended him, even offering a $25,000 reward for information. By January 2023, a year after Cody vanished, his memorial remained at a local soccer field, filled with stuffed animals and handwritten notes. Then, in June 2023, a grand jury indicted Cody for homicide and concealing a body. Prosecutors claimed Cody had died in June 2021, 7 months before Cody reported him missing. In November, prison letters written by Cody surfaced, revealing disturbing confessions. In one, he admitted finding Cody unresponsive, attempting CPR, then panicking and placing his body in a trash bag. Another version stated Cody had fallen down the stairs and died. A third note claimed Cody had struck Cody, then placed his body in a bathtub before burying him. In February 2024, the trial began. Dina broke down in court as she saw the last known photo of Cody, taken in June 2021. He looked different, sad, mad, and scared, she said. Cody's older brother, now 7, recalled seeing his little brother lifeless on a bed. "I was thinking he was dead," he whispered. Prosecutors showed evidence that Cody took his other kids to an amusement park in July 2021, weeks after Cody had allegedly been killed. Officers also read Cody's written confessions, including details of where he buried Cody's body in Maryland. However, searches in that area found nothing. After 3 years of lies and heartbreak, on June 18, 2024, Cody Bigsby was sentenced to 45 years in prison for killing Cody and hiding his body. He still faces additional neglect charges that could add up to 162 more years. Despite the overwhelming evidence, Codi denied everything. "If I confessed, they should have found my son, but they didn't," he claimed. Though Codi's body was never recovered, his case led to real change. In 2024, Virginia lawmakers introduced the Codi Alert, a new system for missing children who don't meet Amber Alert criteria. It was signed into law in May 2024, and within months, the first Codi Alerts helped rescue 3 missing children. Cody Bigsby's life was tragically short, but his story left an impact. His name now stands as a symbol of protection for other children, ensuring that no one disappears without a fight. While the case of Cody Bigsby left the world stunned by the heartbreaking turn of events, another case would soon surface, one that involved a missing child, a shocking confession, and a killer who had been hiding in plain sight. But what connects these two stories? Could it be that, in the darkest corners of our communities, evil sometimes walks right past us, unnoticed? Stay with us, because the next chapter will reveal a mystery that not only rattled an entire town, but also forced people to question the very nature of justice and the lengths one man would go to keep his secrets buried. This is a story you won't want to miss. It was a warm, sunny day in the small town of Rosebud, just outside Melbourne. The streets were peaceful, children played in their yards, and life moved at a slow, predictable pace. In this quiet town lived a bright and cheerful 6-year-old girl named Sheree Greenhill. She was full of life, always running, always smiling. Everyone in the neighbourhood knew her, and she was adored by her family, especially her mother, Carrie. That afternoon, Sheree had been restless, looking for something to do. When the local mini-golf course was closed, she eagerly volunteered to run an errand for her mother. Carrie handed her some money and told her to buy milk, lemonade, and a little treat for herself. Excited, Sheree put on her pink hat, hugged her mother, and ran outside. That was the last time Carrie saw her daughter alive. Hours passed, and Sheree did not return. At first, Carrie thought maybe she got distracted or stopped to play, but as the sun started to set, worry crept in. Then, a neighbour knocked on the door, pale-faced and shaking. "Carrie, they found Sheree's bike. It's lying on the roadside, but she's not there." Carrie's heart pounded. She ran out into the street, calling her daughter's name. But there was no answer, only silence. Panic spread through the town. A search party was formed. Police officers, neighbours, and volunteers scoured every inch of Rosebud, calling out for Sheree. Flyers with her picture were distributed. The news covered the story, and soon, the entire country was watching. Then, a disturbing witness account surfaced. A young child had seen Sheree getting into a blue car with a man, but no one knew who he was or where he had taken her. Days turned into weeks, and still, there was no trace of little Sheree. Her mother pleaded on television, begging for her daughter's safe return. But deep down, everyone feared the worst. 3 months later, the worst was confirmed. A small, lifeless body was discovered in a storm drain. When the DNA results came back, they shattered every hope. Sheree Greenhill was gone. Her mother collapsed in grief. The town of Rosebud, once peaceful and safe, was now haunted by the brutal reality of what had happened. But the most horrifying question remained unanswered. Who did this to Sheree? For 2 years, the case went cold. Then, an unexpected break came from an unlikely source. A therapist named Margaret had been counselling a man named Robert Arthur Selby Lowe. Something about him unsettled her, and one day, he made a comment that sent chills down her spine. "You know, I wonder what the worms did to her body." Margaret stiffened. The way he spoke, the calmness in his voice, it was almost like he was reminiscing. Something told her he wasn't just imagining this. He knew what had happened. Quietly, she reported her suspicions to the police. Detectives placed Robert under surveillance. Over time, more disturbing comments emerged, small hints that he was hiding something dark. Then, a shocking discovery was made. Robert had written a full confession to his therapist, admitting to the murder of Sheree Greenhill. The police finally had their man. When he was caught shoplifting, officers searched him and found yet another handwritten confession in his pocket. The evidence was undeniable. Robert Arthur Selby Lowe had taken Sheree's life. The trial was swift. The courtroom was packed as the judge read the final verdict. "Robert Lowe, you are sentenced to life in prison." Robert sat emotionless. There was no remorse in his eyes. But in the crowd, Carrie clutched a locket with Sheree's picture inside, tears streaming down her face. Justice had been served, but it would never bring her baby back. Years passed, but the pain never faded. One day, the news broke. Robert Lowe had died in prison. Carrie heard the announcement but felt no relief. There was no victory in this, no undoing of the past. Sitting in a park with her grandchildren, she looked up at the sky. "Rest now, my baby," she whispered. Though time had moved forward, the memory of Sheree remained frozen. A 6-year-old girl with a pink hat, laughing, full of life. She would never grow older, never come home. But in the hearts of those who loved her, Sheree would live on forever. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more from Horrendous Horror.